Mario vs. Donkey Kong is a 2004 puzzle platformer released for the Game Boy Advance, developed and published by Nintendo. Now, just about 20 years later, a remade version is coming to Nintendo Switch, featuring modern visuals and some brand new exclusive content. If you're a Mario fan and Nintendo Switch owner, you might find yourself asking, what exactly is Mario vs. Donkey Kong? And is it worth getting for full price at launch? Today, I'm here to answer these questions by taking a look at the original game, what's coming up for us in the remake, and ultimately answering if it's worth double dipping or maybe experiencing it for the first time. If for no other reason, I'm glad this game is getting a remake because it can be hard to come by these days. Unless you bought it on Wii U Virtual Console back when you could, or even less likely have an Ambassador Program 3DS with the game installed, you're pretty much forced to buy the original Game Boy Advance cartridge on the secondhand market. But enough about that. What is the game actually like? Mario vs. Donkey Kong is a puzzle platformer in the truest sense. Where some so-called puzzle platformers are mainly just platformers with a few light puzzles thrown in, this one is equal parts puzzle game and platformer. Donkey Kong has stolen a bag of mini Mario toys, and it's Mario's job to chase him down through each world's various stages. To do this, the player must perform actions in the right sequence to reach a key, then carry it over to a locked door where one of the stolen minis is hiding. If that sounds familiar, that's because it's heavily inspired by Donkey Kong 94 for the Game Boy, which features the same lock and key concept. And just like in that game, the player's platforming skills will be tested as they attempt to solve each puzzle. True to the Donkey Kong games of old, levels are filled with vertically ascending platforms and ladders. As the game progresses, new elements are added, like trampolines to jump to higher places, bob-ombs which explode to clear a path forward, and ropes to carefully swing between above hazards. Just like in DK94, there's a sneakily intricate set of controls here, and those who have played that game will feel right at home with them. Mario can flip into a walking handstand, during which he uses the soles of his shoes to shield him from objects falling above. Jumping from a handstand lets him perform a flip, and jumping one more time immediately after leads to a useful double jump. Then there's a quick side flip, just like the side somersault in Mario's own platformers. And lastly, any object that Mario can safely jump on top of can then be picked up and thrown, forwards or upwards. You can see the influence of several prior games in these controls, and it all comes together leading to a result that's just as good of a platformer as it is a set of puzzles. The game's presentation and reverence for the classic titles is outstanding, as per usual with Nintendo. There are many recognizable Donkey Kong sound effects and pieces of music, and the game is chock full of references to each character's respective series, like how we can shimmy up two vines just like in Donkey Kong Jr. It's all super well done and a feast for those who appreciate the subtle references to Nintendo's history. As the game progresses, stages evolve to feature more creative elements. These lead to more and more complex levels, whether that's hopping on a switch to change the direction of conveyor belts, or throwing an enemy onto a bed of spikes, and then riding on its head to cross the dangerous gap. One time in each world, there is a special stage where the player guides a group of mini Mario toys through a series of obstacles and back into their toy box. And of course, at the end of each world, the game lives up to its name as Mario goes head-to-head versus Donkey Kong in a boss stage. But what about the remake? Well, for the most part, it seems identical to the GBA version. Pre-release footage shows off several familiar stages, letting us know this will be the game we know and love. However, it's been advertised by Nintendo that the remake features about 30 extra levels and 2 brand new worlds, seemingly this amusement park and a winter ice world. It also adds some modern quality of life sensibilities, like a casual mode, which adds checkpoints to every stage and removes the time limit. From my experience, I know removing the timer will make this game considerably easier, since in many stages, racing the clock proves to be the main obstacle rather than the puzzle itself. Perhaps the biggest get for the remake is the addition of local couch co-op, which allows 2 players to take on levels simultaneously. One plays as Mario and the second plays as Toad, with each level given a second key. Collecting the silver key removes a secondary lock on each door. The 2-key split now gives each player a separate objective. They must work together with one tasked to collect the main key while the other works toward the silver key. Collecting both will grant full access to the door. Visually, the remake looks fantastic. The pixely 3D PNGs in the original opening have been brought to life in what's now a beautiful cinematic. But what's even greater than anything I'll say in this video is that there's a playable demo for Mario vs. Donkey Kong available to download now on Nintendo eShop. Rather than listening to anything I have to say, you can just go download that and check it out for yourself. Fair warning though, this demo is extremely short. It's easily one of the weakest demos they've ever done. While I was excited to get my hands on the game early, I was extremely disappointed after being completely finished with it not even 15 minutes later. With my hands-on time though, I noticed that the core mechanics remain the same. Even so, controlling Mario definitely feels a little bit different. Everything's a little bit floatier, or maybe that's just an optical illusion from all the new animations. Either way, I don't have any real complaints, but since I'm coming straight off of a playthrough of the original, it's safe to say the remake will take some getting used to. So what's the verdict? Mario vs. Donkey Kong is one of my favorite puzzle games, ironically because it doesn't feel like one. It's just as satisfying mastering Mario's moveset as it is solving each of the game's various puzzles. That's what makes it unique. Each level introduces new obstacles and interactive elements at a great pace, and toward the end, the challenge becomes real. So I'm very excited to see the new elements and stages added in the remake. It's already a fun time moving thoroughly through each level, retrieving all collectibles, and getting that gold star rating. Thankfully, the remake looks to retain everything that makes the original great, presenting it in a modern package with a beautiful visual style. Let me know in the comments down below if you'll be joining me in playing through Mario vs. Donkey Kong when it releases later this week. If you like this, then subscribe to the channel for more quality Nintendo content, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy the game, everyone.